Chris Christie is coming out of a weak performance in the Iowa caucus, and he's looking to the next couple of elections. And he knows that his path to being the Republican nominee first has to get through a couple of other people, one of them being Marco Rubio. And since Marco Rubio appears to have stolen Ted Cruz's bounce or bump in the polls coming out of Iowa, he is targeting him with his ads. And he had an opening come just a couple of days ago when Rick Santorum decided to endorse Marco Rubio. And when given the opportunity to present the evidence that Marco Rubio can get stuff done, came up with a big fat zero. And so Chris Christie is now using that footage in this ad.
What do you list as Marco Rubio's top accomplishment that made you decide to endorse him?
There's a guy who's been able to, number one, win a tough election in Florida.
Can you name his top accomplishment?
My feeling on Marco is someone who has tremendous potential, tremendous gifts. I guess it's hard to say their accomplishments. I mean, what you
name one thing that he's passed?
The Republicans have been a majority for 1 year and 1 month, of which, as you know, he was running for president primarily.
Well, just one that Marco achieved, maybe a bill that he wrote.
Jeb Bush ran Florida. Donald Trump built a company. Marco Rubio finished the sentence.
You can't point to him and say, well, nothing got done, and therefore he has no accomplishments. So this is a bogus argument.
All I'm asking is a simple question. List one accomplishment that Marco Rubio has achieved in 4 years in the United States Senate.
The bottom line is there isn't a whole lot of accomplishments, Joe, and I just don't think it's a fair question.
I'm Chris Christie, and I approve this message.
He didn't.
I can see why he would.
For one thing, Marco Rubio never shut down a bridge.
He not one bridge.
It's what he didn't do that really. I want to talk about that. That might have been a nice little reply.
That would be my reply.
Yeah.
That's rough, I think.
Marco Rubio never managed to accomplish shutting down a buffet by himself.
Jesus Christ. That's a stimulus package for that business, Jimmy.
Oh, that is.
Okay, business boomed.
I hate to laugh at the heavy jokes, but it is.
I've moved to just laughing at them. I don't tell them myself anymore.
No, I've never waded into that.
Now,
during the big test of leadership was during that storm when Chris Christie heard there was a blizzard coming. He said, "I want mine with Oreos."
He's a large man.
He said, "I'll take a dilly bar."
A big guy. Now, this is Rick Santorum. Rick Santorum had very little support. Few people perhaps even knew that he was running because he never, I don't believe, ever made it to any of the main event debates. He was always on the undercard. His endorsement had, I think, very little chance of mattering much for Rubio.
All of a sudden.
But now, I mean, to the extent that people remember who he is, and this is the guy who won the Iowa caucus the last time around, if you're seeing if you're Marco Rubio, how pissed are you now? Now, you'd be more pissed if you had accomplishments and he just couldn't think of them. So maybe you understand a little bit because you then rack your brain and you think, oh yeah, I guess I didn't do too much. I did visit the gym once. They have a nice gym at the Capitol, but that certainly does not help him. I doubt it's honestly going to help Christie much. I imagine that if people decide not to vote for Rubio, they're unlikely to then say, well, naturally, I have to help Christie, because nothing there said, here are all the things Christie did by comparison.
No, it's a classic Christie move. I mean, he's a gangster politician from New Jersey. He plays dirty. You mentioned closing down the bridge, and this is just slinging something, knocking the knees out from under one of the other candidates, and it's an effective way to do it, but you're just hoping that by virtue of the fact that you've knocked his knees out, you move up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the only strategy.
Rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Which you perhaps can still do on the Jersey Shore, maybe.
It's like he really took his. It's like anyway.
Did you have something?
He's gonna knock the spoon right out of Christie's.
God damn it.
Anyway,
there was a response from Rick Santorum. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet. Because this was, obviously made Rick Santorum look bad and it made Marco Rubio look bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so imagine you can see it. But anyway, he said he's disappointed in Chris Christie, and he mentioned him because he's calling out his boy. He said, taking my words completely out of context, expected so much from my friend. Hashtag Team Marco.
But so he took his words out of context. But the problem wasn't the words that he said, it's the words that he didn't say. And those words could have been listing the accomplishments of Marco Rubio.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, he didn't take his words out of context. But aside from that, he took his words out of context. I mean, his words were completely in context. They showed you the whole clip. I mean, sorry. Yeah. But I like that his reply didn't include any Marco Rubio accomplishment.